Hi, I'm Pastor Chester Hitchcock, and this is part 8 in my series that I've titled, Is That Really in the Bible?, where we're examining what some people call phantom texts. So let's look at the familiar verse that's found in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6, that says, "Train up a child in the way that they should go, and when they are old, they will not depart from it." First of all, let's be clear, this is not a phantom text because this is word for what it says in Proverbs chapter 22, verse 6. However, the way that it is generally understood doesn't fit the original meaning. But before we get to the original meaning, let's just stop and think for a minute about the outcome of how this verse has been used in the past. As a retired pastor of nearly 30 years, I have seen the pain of generational churchgoers who bemoans the fact that their children are not in church. Often senior members would come to me and talk to me about how they had taken Proverbs chapter 22 verse 6 very seriously, only to see their children and their grandchildren not interested in attending church. So what went wrong? Is this a Bible promise that God doesn't keep for those who claim it and try really hard to live by? They kept their kids in church. They insisted that they keep quiet in worship service. They pushed them to be involved in programs, hoping that they would learn to enjoy being up front at church. They kept them in home Bible study activities, even when the kids complained. They loved their children. They didn't want them to be lost. To be certain, there is nothing wrong with attending church and getting involved in church programs and doing Bible studies at home. These are all good things. So what happened? Unfortunately, many sincere parents tried their hardest to keep their children in church in order to bring up their child in the way that they should go. But their efforts failed partly because they didn't understand the original meaning of the text. The original meaning of the text is best translated as, "Bring up a child according to their bent, and when they are old, they will not depart from it." Let me explain what that means. If it really said, "Bring up a child in the way that they should go," parents know nothing to do but to decide what is best and insist that their child do it. And sometimes that means saying things like, "I don't care whether you like it or not, as long as you are under my roof, you will attend church every week." Or something like, "You might not enjoy it right now, but someday you're going to thank me for this." But when it says, "Bring up a child according to their bent," or according to their leaning, this means that Proverbs 22 verse 6 is not just calling parents to force their kids to attend church, but rather to take the time to discover what the child's interests and leanings are, what their talents and gifts are, and how to use those leanings and interests and talents and gifts for God. What is their natural bent or leaning? What are their skills and their likes? How can they be used in the church or in the community in a way that praises God? Sometimes it's not easy to find the time to learn what your child's gifts are. Sometimes it's not easy to find ways to use their interests and their leanings for God. Sometimes it's just easier to insist that they do what you want them to do, or what you think they will like, or what you want them to like. Sometimes that's just the easiest. I know that I might be upsetting some parents who are already doing the best that they can do. And I'm sorry, causing good parents to feel guilty is not my goal. But what is my goal is helping good parents meet their goal of keeping their kids interested in serving God, not just out of duty, not just out of fear of being lost, but in a way that when they are old, they'll not depart from it. When they are old, they will not depart from it, says volumes. Adults know that when we get old enough to make our own decisions, we do what we enjoy. We go where we want to go. We go to whatever church we want to go to, or we choose not to go to church at all. We don't go where we don't want to go, and that often means we don't go to the church where our parents took us. Why? Many times it's because we don't have fond memories there. Even if we know that our parents did their best, even if we know that they did what they did for us, we did what they wanted us to do partly because we had to. And now that we don't have to anymore, we don't. But if we want the last part of that verse, when they are old, they will not depart from it, then we need to properly understand the first part of the verse, train up a child according to their bent or according to their leaning. Make sure that their spiritual experience is fun when they are little, and as they grow, help the fun to turn into a sense of joy and satisfaction. As we learn their interests and help them use those interests for God. It might be an affinity for art, beginning with coloring pictures and making crafts. And that's why so many churches incorporate these kinds of things for the children's departments. But as they get older and those things are too childish, the discovery of their interests become more difficult to identify. They deal with a lot of peer pressure of every kind. But if we take the time to discover what they do best and encouraging them to do that for God, they enjoy shining around others. And when we help them at every stage learn how to use their talents for God, they will not depart from it. In other words, they don't depart from God. And when that happens, we have followed Proverbs 22 verse 6. It's not as simple as just making the kids attend church that keeps them close to God. It's far more complex. It's bringing them up to serve God in ways that fits who they are. So if this video has been interesting and helpful to you, give me a thumbs up. And if you've not subscribed to my channel yet, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and choose all to make sure that you get a notification the next time that I produce a video. God bless. I'll see you in the next video.